We all know the delicious, juicy, and smoky taste of Dad's homemade barbecue. Just one bite instantly makes you feel like it's a 4th of July celebration. Nothing compares to that taste. What if I told you there was something that could jeopardize this sense of elation? What if I told you it was real and has been a problem around the world longer than COVID 19? That's why I'm here today. What starts out as a high fever, decreased appetite, overall weakness with red and blotchy skin becomes a problem that can halt pork production in its tracks. This disease quickly turns into death within 7 to 10 days from inoculation. This devastating disease is known as the African swine fever. According to the World Organization of Animal Health, African swine fever is a viral disease that affects wild hogs as well as domestic swine sounders. The disease can be spread amongst living swine or any interaction a swine has with recently deceased pigs. With this knowledge in hand, there is good reason for taking every precaution necessary. Today, I will share with you the origin of the African swine fever, the impact it has had on the world pork industry in recent years, and how we as Americans can protect our swine producers from enduring this difficult epidemic. At the turn of the 20th century and through the early 1900s, America saw some events that remain historical milestones. The Wright brothers fly the first airplane, Teddy Roosevelt is elected president, and the epidemic of influenza strikes 500 million people worldwide. At this same time, another epidemic was emerging on the plains of Africa. By 1990, African swine fever was believed to be eradicated outside of Africa. In 2018, an outbreak occurred in China, and China has remained the epicenter for the disease in large part due to the demand of pork in the culture's everyday cuisine. The disease is not zoonotic and cannot be transferred to humans. The African swine fever has become so tough to keep down because it remains dormant very well and transfers very easily through a diverse gallery of vectors. Unfortunately, the most common way to spread the disease is through human contact in their vehicles. Symptoms are not consistent among the swine, and they are not identified in enough time to separate. This highly contagious disease illustrates the importance of biosecurity measures on our borders. Homeland Security have begun implementing inspection dogs for spotting traces of contamination before leaving the airport. Travelers have also been told to expect additional inspections if traveling from an infected area. Unlike classical swine fever, better known as hog cholera, which is caused by a different virus, there is no approved vaccine that can be utilized to help prevent the spread of this disease. This according to the World Organization of Animal Health. As of now, this disease has primarily affected swine production in many African countries, Central and Eastern Europe, as well as China. Our borders at home, the United States, is rightfully on the minds of everyone knowledgeable about this topic. Could it reach the U.S., and would it cause an economic crisis for the pork industry? The average consumer is not concerned about the economics of their food. Food safety is a very top priority issue, but what if your shopping list could not contain bacon, pork chop, or the seasonal favorite, Christmas ham? The alternative is raising swine for yourself from a meadow in the country to a suburban backyard. This just doesn't fit the modern American lifestyle. Producing farmers create food for 96 other human beings. This disease will affect the livelihood of the hog and whether or not enough of them remain to use in the marketplace as we are accustomed to. According to Iowa State University, the disease may be caused by vectors such as blood-sucking insects that carry the sickness. That means this disease can potentially be spread as simply as a mosquito sucking the blood from an infected swine and then landing on an uninfected swine, completing transmission. Many times, the African swine fever virus is introduced into a herd after the feeding of undercooked pork products that are consumed by the pig. Unlike the United States, China has few food regulations that prohibit the feeding of deceased raw animals to another animal. Of the 68 outbreaks in China, 34% of the African swine fever was caused by swill feeding, 46% was caused by contaminated vehicles, and 19% was caused by the transport of live pigs and products. To combat the spread of this disease in China, the government has stepped in and banned the use of non-heated swill, which is food waste scraps or raw meat. China also does not allow this practice to be performed in the provinces with ongoing outbreaks. The challenge presents itself in convincing farmers to drop this practice to help protect the country's more than 400 million domestic pigs. When an outbreak occurs, China coils all the pigs in a 3-kilometer or approximately 1.8 mile zone, sets up inspection and disinfection stations to control farm traffic within a 10-kilometer zone, as well as closes live pig markets in the affected area. Normal of Science magazine stated many observers believe many cases go unreported to prevent such exercises from taking place. Pork is a staple protein source in the United States, and in 2017, pork consumption was up 20% according to an article in the Washington Post. This article also stated that the Agricultural Department estimated that pork production would meet, if not occasionally exceed, that of beef production by 2018. In Georgia alone, there are roughly 345,000 pigs raised, whether it be for food production or exhibition purposes through 4-H and FFA. According to Pork Checkoff Biosecurity Management Best Practices, biosecurity is defined as a combination of management practices designed to prevent the introduction and transmission of diseases and disease-causing agents into a herd. Here are some steps that every swine producer, including myself, should use. First, set up a bench entry and shower system to designate clean from dirty. This helps with the sanitizing of people. Second, disinfect the housing facility often and allow the room to dry, then inspect the barns again to ensure all hair and manure has been removed. Finally, require drivers to disinfect vehicle tires before going to the barn and wear boot covers over shoes when entering the barns. These are key components to making sure that we mitigate the spread of the African swine fever into the United States swine operations. Can I guarantee that the African swine fever will never infiltrate into the United States? No. Can I guarantee that this disease will go misdiagnosed and potentially kill hundreds of thousands of swine in our great state of Georgia? I cannot. What I can guarantee is that the United States pork producers develop the most wholesome, high quality, and nutritious pork for every consumer in the world. Why are they able to do this? The great land grant institutions of our country and the United States Department of Agriculture educate, serve, and protect the food supply that you and I enjoy. E.M. Tiffany believes in the ability of progressive agriculturalists to serve our own and the public interest in producing and marketing the product of our toil. Combating African swine fever or any affliction that harms our livestock will take this devotion of service to keep our secret family recipe for barbecue on the table.